What's up, good people? This is Verbally Unspoken, and you are watching 4 Degrees of Black. This is a channel by 4 educated black males that discuss topics of an intellectual nature. And so each week, someone chooses a topic. This week, I am the moderator. And just by way of introduction, again, I am Verbally Unspoken.
I'm Watu.
I am Invincible.
And it's me, your boy Pat.
Alright, so fellas, I was getting into a discussion with a friend of mine, and we were talking about higher education and the epidemic that we're finding about black males entering college and completing high school. So, one thing that we, in our discussion, noticed is that over the past 5 or 6 decades, there's been a decline. Back in the 1960s, there were higher numbers of black males that not only completed college, but also entered into universities, trade schools, or the workforce for the military. And so in doing a little research, to kind of give you the background, there's this little principle that was kind of instated way back when in slavery times called separate but equal. But it was overturned with the Brown versus Board of Education decision in the mid to late 1960s. So, with that, Brown versus Board of Education just kind of told us that it declared it unconstitutional to have separate schools, separate institutional learning for black students and white students. And so that's kind of how integration kind of came apart in our school system. But if you look back through history, and actually there was a study published in 2004 by researchers at the University of Washington, the incarceration rate for black males that were born between 1945 and 1949 was about 10.6% by the time they were in their 30s. However, it increased to about 20%, double that, for those that were born between 1965 and 1969. And so if you think about it, those students that were born in the 40s were of college age in the 60s, kind of around where all the integration in Brown versus Board of Education kind of occurred. Also, if you look at it, of those men that were born between 1965 and 1969, those that survived to live to see 1999, about 22% of them were in jail, 17% served the military, and only 12.5% even earned a bachelor's degree. So, with that being said, should we reinstate separate but equal legally within our school systems in the country today? And so I would like to know why you think so, or why you think it should not be, and just kind of give your reasoning why and your opinion. So we will start with Watu this week.
What'd you say?
Basically, the question is...
No, I got it. You was spitting off all these numbers, and I was just in another world.
He gave his dissertation, so not only can he do pharmaceutical.
No, but what do I think? Separate but equal? Hell to the no. The only reason, and I mean, you can spit those statistics all you want, but let's face it. Back in the 60s, when black men were going to college in high numbers, blacks period. Well, you know, it's a lot of black women going now, but when a lot of black men were going to college back then, it was because during the 60s, we were going for civil rights. We were trying to get everything equal. We were trying to attain a higher level of living that we all wanted. Well, not we, but our parents. You know, we had something to fight for. I would say that back in the 60s. Black people were trying to, you know, attain equality in all facets, whether it be, you know, a restroom, a water fountain, a bus seat, or an education. And it's like, over time, you know, along with other factors, I just think that we have taken for granted what our forefathers have fought for. And a lot of people don't realize how different things are today for black people, black men. The amount of opportunities that are there for you today that weren't there then that they had to fight for. So, of course, when they fought for it and they won these opportunities, of course they're going to take advantage of what they fought for. So, that's how I feel about it.
All right. Invincible.
So when I think about this, and I think about the question that I've asked a lot of older African Americans, and they've said this to me: segregation is the thing that hurt our race the most. And as I begin to look at that, I agree. I don't think that segregation and equality necessarily have to go hand in hand. I think that there is a special education that is learned via your HBCUs, if I can use that for an example. An experience that you get that you don't get when you're at a majority school. And a majority school, for those who are not aware, is where you can say that you have a minority. So black can be a minority, or an Indian can be a minority or something, where your major race is the Caucasian race. I think there is something special and something to be learned in a community that is fostered at a black school, whether it be a black high school, whether it be a black elementary school, but whether it be a black college, that you won't get anywhere else. Believe it or not, there are things that you can learn from being in that line of registration that you won't get while you're online registering for your classes. Now, yes, we want equality for our schools. We want our schools to have the same opportunities. But the environment that is fostered at a black school, you can't reach that at Georgia Tech. I'm sorry. Love you, Georgia Tech. You can't reach it at Georgia State. As black as y'all want to be in the black city. At Morehouse, you will get something different than what you will there. At Spelman and at Clark will be different than at Georgia Tech. That's my look on it.
Okay. Pat?
I have to disagree with Morris because I went to a HBCU and I hated it. The experience that I did get, I'm glad I left and went to another school. The shit that was going on there was just not what I was about. And when I graduated from a predominantly white school, I got all I needed. And that was an education. Now, with that being said, the whole separate but equal thing, I think that as a community, we have separations within our community that we need to work on before we can even go with separating ourselves from a different race, because we're already outcasted in our community if we don't look a certain way, if we don't act a certain way, if we don't dress a certain way. So I don't think a school that you decide that you want to go to is going to change any of that. So if we work on ourselves in a community first, then we can, for the most part, branch off and work with everything else, and we can all work together, like Wah said, that people fought for back in the day. It just saddens me to even think that as a community we can't even come together for our own, but then we can come together for somebody else's. And that's my take.
Okay.